What's this lying around?
Well, what the hell are we supposed to do, you moron?
War's over, man. Wormer dropped the big one.
What?
Twitter. Who's with me? Crickets. Then I had to come back and reiterate. Tell him Bluto.
What the happened to the I used to know?
Fans I used to know.
Where's the spirit? Where's the guts? Huh? This could be the greatest night of our lives. But you're gonna let it be the worst. Oh, we're afraid to go with you, Pluto. We might get in trouble. Well, just kiss my ass from now on! Not me! I'm not gonna take this!
Not gonna take
Rise
it.
and shine, sleepyhead.
Damn
I'm
right.
not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Such a great quote. Sam Amick is going to join us at 8:05. Sam and I have beef. Explained this at the top of the show. Sam was on Howard Beck's podcast. It was a live podcast in front of an audience at the Sloan Conference in Boston. And Sam put my name in his mouth and said some very horrible things. Nothing he hasn't said before, by the way. But now there's a whole slew of basketball dorks that now know this. The Sam's coming on at 8:05, and there will be fireworks. Lance Woods in studio, this time for real, at 8:35. Kings lose to the Celtics. And yeah, we'll get to that here in just a moment. I do want to pay off what I did not pay off in the last segment. You may remember Cody Parkey, the field goal kicker for the Chicago Bears, hitting the goalposts. I don't have the number in front of me. I want to say it was about 740 times last year, including one off the crossbar to lose their playoff game. So Cody Parkey will not return. We knew this, to the Chicago Bears. And they have replaced him with a guy who spent 4 seasons kicking at Pitt. He converted 55 of 79 attempts. He did have a 43-yarder to beat Clemson back in 2016. So those numbers don't exactly jump out at you. What does jump out at you is the name of the kicker they signed is Chris Blewett. Chris Blewett is now the new kicker for the Chicago Bears.
And it's not even like Blewett, but it's spelled like weird, like Bloughgh.
Blewitt.
Like it is just Blewett.
Chris Blewett. Like, for example, if the afternoon show board op producer participant, our good friend Chris, spilled chocolate milk on the board and they couldn't do their show, you would say Chris Blewett. Well, now you got a guy. I mean, got to start thinking that might be. What was our drive? Did you already throw out a drive question today? I feel like you did. Did you?
Yes.
Which was what?
It was. Is there a worse name for an athlete?
Okay.
Than
I
Blewett?
think we should. I think I would modify it, but it means the same thing. Worst sports names ever. Like, for example, there was a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think amongst other teams once, named Bob Walk. Uh-huh. There was also Eric Plunk, former Oakland Athletic.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
There was Grant Balfour.
Oh, that's right. Also former A.
Yeah.
He was really good, too, for a while.
He's really good. This is how
Chris Blewett.
I knew I recognized that name, so whenever I recognize something, I search my name on Twitter to see if I've ever tweeted about it.
Oh, Kyle, I searched my own name on Twitter.
Yeah, I do,
Yeah,
obviously.
okay, go ahead.
You don't look at you don't, wow, okay.
Wait, hold on. Stop right there. What do you mean? How do you even, what do you mean you search your own name on Twitter? I don't want to go down this road.
You just search your handle, and then I type in Kyle A. Madsen, then Chris Blewett, and it
brings up like a I didn't even, okay. I got you.
So in 2013, I was tweeting about Chris Blewett. And now he's back in our lives, and I'm so happy about this.
Chris Blewett. Yeah. Sorry, Bears.
I think I found the worst sports names ever.
Yeah?
Do you count NASCAR?
Yeah. Are we going with Dick Trickle?
Dick Trickle.
Yeah, Dick Trickle's a rough one. But here's the thing. I agree with you on that, and I've long said about Dick Trickle. He knows what he's doing. He could have been Rick Trickle,
yep.
Rich Trickle, Richard Trickle. He went with that, okay?
Yep.
But I think...
He 1,000% knew what he was doing.
But here's what I would submit. I would say Chris Blewett is worse. I'll tell you why. If instead of his name being Dick Trickle, his name was Johnny Horrific Crash, that would be worse.
Yes,
I agree. Than Chris Blewett.
Sure.
Dick Trickle's just a funny name. But if it was Billy, if he was like German and it was Billy Bricks Don't Work, that would be a horrific NASCAR name.
How do you feel about former Red Sox Dick Pole?
Again, funny name.
Not a bad sports name though.
But not a bad sports name. Now, if his name was Sam, if his name was Sam Hit in the Eye, if his name was
that's a name.
Okay, sorry. Let me be more realistic. If his name was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying.
Yes. Blewett is a bad name for a kicker.
Bobby can pitch strikes. There you go.
Pitch strikes, of course. Having a weird deja vu right now.
Yes. Bobby can pitch strikes.
The A's, this isn't a bad name. This is a good sports name. The A's literally had a guy named Josh Outman.
That's actually
that's a great name for a pitcher. Not a good name for a position player, I don't think.
Correct. But Tommy Strikes Out? No. Horrible baseball name. Kenny Airball played for Georgia Tech and went on, had a cup of coffee in the NBA.
Yeah.
Bad name.
Bad football name. Former New York Giant Guy Whimper.
That is a bad one.
That's a brutal name.
It's a really bad one. So Chris Blewett, which I feel is a sentence a lot of Bears fans, I'm rooting for this guy.
Me too, because I wonder if he misses a big kick where people talk about it on social media.
Yes.
I wonder if nobody will even make the joke.
Oh, come on.
Knowing that everyone is about to make the joke.
And once again, for the third time today, Chris Blewett. Or would you say Chris Blewett? I mean, you have to say Chris Blewett.
Chris Blewett, indeed.
Yeah, there you go.
Chris obviously Blewett.
Got him.
Chris Blewett, you guys, is how I would say it.
I did some research yesterday, Kyle, on Marvin Bagley and how the Kings play without him, specifically what their record is. I think this ties into last night. Newsflash, it's not a good record. It's not a good record.
It's actively bad.
It's really bad. And obviously the Kings did not have Marvin Bagley last night. They probably will not have him. Oh, ADD. I forgot to mention this in the whole LeBron thing. I know this is one of those you're trying too hard stats, but I thought it was kind of cool. When LeBron James passed Michael Jordan last night on the scoring list, it was 8:23 Pacific time, which is 11:23 Eastern time, which Eastern time is 23:23 military time. They both wore 23. Come Come on, man.
Hey, it's time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, 800-551-3040.
And when I say I did research, obviously that's just my fun way of telling Kyle, because Kyle did the research yesterday during the show, and they got really mad at me when I tried to talk to him during his research.
You tried to converse with me while I was doing math.
Man, I didn't know.
Unbelievable.
Man, I did not know. Okay. I'm searching here. That's why I'm vamping right now. The record is really bad. They're just, I believe
they're 5-12.
Yeah, I think it's like what, 31% of their wins. They're winning 31% of the time.
Did we text that much yesterday? Because I texted you the.
Oh, you texted
stat.
me. I'm looking on my Twitter. That's a horrific idea.
Yeah, I just texted you the stats yesterday.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah, and there were times during last night's game where you saw Marvin Bagley's absence affect the Kings. I forget exactly how much time there was left, but it was late in the game. The Kings were down a couple possessions. They got a stop, and then the rebound was there for the taking, and just nobody grabbed it.
No.
And that's a brutal in that juncture of the game. You can't give up a free possession like that. And Marvin Bagley gives them probably 4 or 5 extra possessions a game just by working on the glass.
And in a 2-point loss. That's a big deal. Yes. Without Bagley, the Kings are 5-12. That's about 30%. With Bagley, 27-20. That's a 575 clip. It's pretty interesting. And it's another reason why I have so much hope for next year. Now, we have a lot of new listeners that come in and out of the show, obviously, throughout the day. Coming up at 7:35, we're going to get a lot deeper into this and why. I understand, but I wish there weren't so many people giving up on the season right now, because there are still, first off, there's still a chance of making the playoffs. Secondly, there are still massive milestones, one in particular for this team to reach. And I need the fan base who feels that way to try to explain to me why that's okay. Whatever you want to do is okay, but I don't get it. I saw a lot of people jumping off last night, and I need to understand it. Or at least you need to understand what I'm saying. One of the two. We got to figure it out, because it's Kingsaholics Anonymous broadcast going on right now. Sam Amick at 8:05. We'll get back to it next with your phone calls at 339-1140 and Threefer Madness right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Welcome back to The Drive. Time for Threefer Madness.
The one wing fires up a three. Count it on a foul! Lets the three-point shot fly. Oh, he's done it again!
Threefer Madness.
Oh, he's done it again!
Time for Threefer Madness. 3 questions, 3 answers.
Queued up. Come listen to it. Nothing. You got it ready?
Yeah, I sure do.
This is Boomer aside. Did I hear this right?
Yeah, I think so.
Roll Boomer here.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by CDW, making IT solutions work for you. It's IT orchestration by CDW. CDW, people who get it. Following the NFL Combine, there was a media brouhaha over Charlie Casserly's negative report on potential top pick Kyler Murray. What Casserly had compiled and echoed was what he had been told by NFL scouts, which was overwhelmingly negative. But as dossiers go these days, only Christopher Steele's bogus Trump-Russia dossier got worse reviews.
What? Boomer. Now, everyone, calm your typing fingers down. We're not editorializing whether he's right or wrong.
No, pick a political take there.
Right.
Just dropping that in the middle.
Whether he said as bogus as the dossier is or as accurate.
Right.
That's not what we're judging.
Right.
Boomer dropping heavy political takes in his CBS Sports Minute. Okay. I see you, Boom. Wow. Okay. Oh, my God. Yeah, Kyle, you caught that. All credit to you. And I did not think, Kyle misheard.
Yeah, because we're not sitting here dialed into the spots. So we have other stuff going on. But, you keep a background ear out just to make sure they're all running and stuff. And that just... It goes from Kyler Murray to strong political takes.
Wow. Okay. Kyle Madsen. Welcome into Threefer Madness. 21 different flavors to choose from. We're talking about fire wings.
Yeah, we are.
Just wing it. Question number 1.
By the way, I don't know if you heard, but I have I have some good news regarding Fire Wings, specifically for you.
Oh, really?
I can't say it on there.
Okay.
But a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff happening in Fire Wings.
All right. Okay. Question one.
Draymond Green says the Warriors' defensive issues aren't DeMarcus Cousins' fault. Is he right?
First off, good on Draymond Green. That's leadership right there, trying to take some of the pressure off DeMarcus Cousins publicly and trying to stand up for his guy. I'm not a fan of Draymond Green, but I am a fan of stuff like that. He, in fact, said our defense has been horse poop no matter who's in there. But I don't think he's accurate. I don't think Cousins is entirely to blame. Here's the thing. When DeMarcus Cousins is on the floor, their defensive rating is 108.6. When DeMarcus Cousins is off the floor, their defensive rating is 108.9. So, but even Cousins knows and has said publicly that his defense has been bad, that teams are coming right at him. You saw it in the Celtics game the other night. Every play damn near was at DeMarcus Cousins. I think the biggest surprise is that he hasn't fouled out of every single game.
Yeah.
And then after that Celtics game, I went back and watched some of the press conferences. His press availability was interesting. Former KHTKer John Dickinson actually asked him at one point, do you think how would you rate your defense? And you can tell when DeMarcus is starting to get upset, go, how would you rate my defense? And good on John basically for saying, well, I think you've been struggling, but my opinion is not what matters. It's your opinion.
Sure.
DeMarcus then went into an answer, and then in the next question he was asked, he was answering a different question. He goes, so I think it's kind of foolish to say that, I'm struggling. Obviously the question upset him a little bit, but he's struggling, and he knows it.
Yeah, he's said as much that teams are going after him, and he has to be ready for it. DeMarcus Cousins has not been good on that end of the floor, but he was never a great defender to begin with, and now he's still coming back from this pretty devastating Achilles injury, which certainly doesn't help. But what Draymond said was right. I mean, nobody on the Warriors is playing particularly good defensively, and I think that's partially because they're kind of in cruise control until the playoffs. But at the same time, you'd like to see a little bit more effort from them on the defensive end, but it's not all DeMarcus Cousins.
Question number 2.
Call it now. Are the Cardinals going to trade Josh Rosen and draft Kyler Murray number 1?
Man, you're certainly hearing little rumors about it.
Yeah.
You're certainly hearing a lot of smoke and maybe some fire. Here's the thing. This is kind of weird to me. The NFL Combine happens and we all get all pumped up. And then we're 49, 48 days away from the draft. We're like 2 months away almost from the draft. Like, have the Combine and then have the draft like the next week.
You still got to give visits and interviews.
I know. Then do the visits first and then do the Combine. I don't know. I don't want the Combine and then we're all into this. And then it's like, okay, all right, the draft's in 2 months. Oh, that's some rad.
That's how they stretch out their offseason, though. They stay in the conversation.
I really think this is one of those early things that may not end up panning out. This happens every year. You hear stuff about the draft. We talked about it yesterday with Baker Mayfield. No way was he going number 1. And then, oh, my God, he's going number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Kyle, part of the thing there is the trade Rosen. He was number 10 pick in the draft last year?
Mm-hmm.
So what are they going to get for him if they trade him? They're not getting a 10 pick or higher. The Redskins have been talked about a destination for him. They're picking number 15. Part of it is I need somebody to talk me through who would want Rosen and who would be willing to spend a pick and how high would that pick be? How much is Arizona willing to take it in the shorts on that pick last year and give up on Rosen and drafting a guy in Kyler Murray, who, by the way, not a sure thing, Kyle.
Right. But if Cliff Kingsbury wants to handpick his guy, and the Cardinals already showed they fired their new head coach after 1 year.
Yeah.
If they're not into compounding their mistakes, then you can absolutely see this happening. And every draft analyst that I've spoken to and read has said that Josh Rosen is better than this quarterback class. The Cardinals have already paid most of his rookie contract.
Right.
So you're getting a rookie contract that's even cheaper than a normal rookie deal.
Right.
You get a 5th-year option on him.
Yep.
And if you're a team like Washington specifically, who I think they pick in the top.
They're 15.
They pick again in the top 40.
Oh, I see.
But if they're going second-round pick.
Gotcha.
Because let's just assume they're not trading their first-round pick. So if they're going second-round pick, you're already paying Alex Smith a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
But now you can solve your quarterback issue with a rookie contract for a second-round pick.
I mean, great for Washington if they do it.
Yeah.
But Arizona.
So I'm saying if Arizona is set on unloading Josh Rosen, you can get a top 40 pick for him. Here's why I think it's going to happen. Because Doug Farrar at USA Today, Matt Miller at Bleacher Report, Daniel Jeremiah from NFL.com, and Todd McShay from ESPN all have Kyler Murray going number 1 in their post-combine mock draft. And I know mock drafts don't mean a lot, but to those guys, they make their careers basically off of mock drafts. And if they were throwing something out there, it has to be substantiated at least a little bit.
I agree. And we'll cut off we'll make our third question. We'll do that at 7:30 here because we're running out of time. Kyle, here's my thing. A last word from me on this. I would understand if Kyler Murray were Peyton Manning. I would understand if Kyler Murray were one of those number 1 quarterback picks that seems to be this absolute can't miss. Kyler Murray is far from a can't miss pick. Kyler Murray is far from a can't miss pick, mainly because of his size. We just don't know. I think it's safe to say we think he'll be really good, but again, we're not talking about Peyton Manning. We're not talking about that number 1 pick that or all logic tells you. That is a massive gamble by the Cardinals.
Sure. But if you hire a head coach and you want to handcuff a quarterback to him.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Kings fall to the Celtics. We'll give you a playoff update. Moral wins, moral losses, whatever you want to call them. And we'll take your phone calls. I want you guys to sound off on last night. Are you done? Have you given up on the playoffs? Have you given up on the playoffs? Is that it? Time to move on? Or are you still there? We'll be right back after these words. You about to read something?
Yeah, because at 8:35, I know we got Lance Woods coming in, but at 8:35, we're giving away tickets to see the Steve Miller Band. You can win a pair of tickets to see Steve Miller Band and very special guest Marty Stewart and his fabulous superlatives at the Lake Tahoe Outdoor Arena at Harvey's on Saturday, August 24th. For tickets and more information, visit khgk.com.
What was that?
Don't worry about it.
Uh-huh.
Just try not to,
Were you? That's a straight Steve Miller read too.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the, enjoy the Geritol?
Oh, sorry. Hang on. Okay.
Love Steve Miller. Kyle's been hating on Steve Miller. When you hear people discussing LeBron James versus Michael Jordan, do you jump in with Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell? Then have I got the concert for you? We'll be right back. It is Sports 1140 KHTK.
More of The Drive starts now.
Welcome back to The Drive. Kyle Madsen in the other room, along with Jay Marshall. Sam Amick will join us at 8:05. Lance Woods in studio at 8:35. Kyle Madsen from the Kyle Madsen Sports Desk with something to read.
We're also giving away Steve Miller Band tickets at 8:35.
Yes, we are. That. Very excited.
Yeah, it's time to call Sierra Pacific for this winter's best deal on a new furnace. Call Sierra Pacific now, 800-551-3040.
You can watch The Drive at KHTK.com, brought to you by Jiffy Lube and the Sac Republic. Also, check out our Twitter at The Drive 1140 and the KHTK YouTube channel. Just search KHTK channel, hit subscribe, and you're good to go. We get into the Sacramento Kings in this segment. I have questions for you. You hopefully have answers for me. Chris, welcome into The Drive.
Hey, what's up? Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
So, on the Kings, I am off of the playoff bandwagon.
Okay.
Not that I've given up on the team. I'm still hoping for a 40-plus, win season. But the reason I'm off, and it's not like necessarily blaming you guys, but I guess I'll have to blame the three shows that are on. Grant, Jason, Doug have specifically, because you're really big highest hope guy that I think is in the station, to be honest, outside of maybe Jason Ross. But all of those three guys have been talking about how when we lost to the Clippers, we were now 4 games back, and there was no way we were going to catch the Clippers being behind 4 games, and that was with 19, 20 games left. Well, now we're 4 games back from the Spurs with 18 games left. So hearing everything you guys have said based on us not catching the Clippers, that would now, I believe, correspond to us not being able to catch the Spurs. Because now, especially with losing all these other games and a lot harder games kind of coming up, it's going to be an extremely difficult task.
You know what? That is about as logical a layout as you can give as to why you would be off the playoff bandwagon.
Chris, are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because that was really dynamite reasoning by you.
I just like arguing and, coming up with things that make sense. So,
well, first off, you can do whatever you want. And I've said this before. I was really surprised, though, last night at the amount of people. Look, they're 4 games behind the Spurs and effectively 5 behind the Clippers with the tiebreaker. They have 18 games left. True, they have 1 game against the Spurs left. But even then, that cuts it to 3 games. You're going to need some help. What I had said is I think they need to go 8-2 over the next 10, and that started with the Knicks game. They're now 1-1, which means they have to go 7-1, which means they're going to have to win every game and steal a road game either in Boston or in Philly, and that's a tall task. But here's my thing. Chris, I will ask you, what is the virtue, what is the benefit of hopping off the playoff bandwagon before they're mathematically eliminated?
The only thing I can say that would make sense is that your hopes aren't more destroyed at the end of the season. Because if you're jumping off the bandwagon like I am just to enjoy the rest of the season, you're not as let down at the end of the year. Now, granted, again, I'm still along for the rest of the season ride because I love watching the team. But for the people that might have got their hopes extremely high and been thinking, oh, yeah, we're definitely making the playoffs, we're definitely making it, it's kind of an easier letdown if you let yourself down now with 18 games left to go, rather than letting yourself down with, let's say, 4 games to go and we're down by however many at that point.
You see, here's what I don't like. I don't like, Chris, when people call in, and they're calm and collected, and they use my own logic against me. That's where it becomes difficult. I understand where Chris is coming from. I really do. It's something that I've said many times in the past. Why, especially with this team, one of my favorite, most least favorite at the same time, sayings about the Sacramento Kings is God hates the Kings. Just from Robert Horry to all the relocation crap, which ended up okay, to every bounce ball that goes the wrong way, to every bad referee call. It always seems that Chris Webber's injury, on and on and on. There's a curse on this team. I understand that. And I've gone lengths talking about how pessimism is the way to go with this team. Not a loser mentality, but just expecting the worst, being happy at the best. I don't have a logical explanation here as to why I feel differently in this scenario, because I readily acknowledge that it is unlikely the Kings are going to make the playoffs. We're probably talking, I think I saw the mathematics out there, which aren't always accurate. And I think it was like single digits, like 8%, 7%, something silly like that. Even if it was 12%, it's small. So I get it. I guess this is where I'm coming from. Because last year it was all negative. Everything was terrible. Really, the last 14 years, everything was terrible. This team is 500 on March 7th. We're playing meaningful games in the month of March. When they show the playoff race on national TV, the Kings are in that conversation.
I guess I want to know where this logic was for you 2 weeks ago when I was explaining this exact thing.
I needed to set myself up. Mentally for the eventual come down. See, Kyle, what's complicated about this is that I expected this to happen.
Because it's just, for me, this exact thing is what I was telling you on this show.
Right. But you also have to understand, you also have to remember what the mood of the fan base was at the time. We're making the playoffs. It's going to happen. We're in.
So you just go the opposite of what fans are saying.
I'm not being a contrarian, and I know I'm towing a really fine line here because it's very close. And when they zig, I zag, etc. What it is that I don't want to get too high or too low. When everyone's high, like, oh, we're going to make the playoffs. Well, no, we're probably not, and here's why. And even if we are, I need to prepare myself mentally for that aspect, for what's happened. The meteor hit, Kyle. See, the meteor we talked about hit. Marvin Bagley got injured.
Okay.
Marvin Bagley got injured at the worst time of the year.
Okay.
Marvin Bagley got injured, and his injury will likely screw this team out of the playoffs. As far as the schedule goes, not only are they losing, what do we say, 6 of 8 right now? Not only are they losing 6 of 8, but they lost to Boston at home by 2. They lost to Milwaukee in overtime by 1. Okay. They lost to Golden State by 2. They lost to Denver by 2. That's a meteor.
Okay, no, but my whole thing in your argument now is that, but it's all fine because this team's trajectory is still good. And so whether they make the playoffs, don't make the playoffs, like everything is fine, which was my literal point 2 weeks ago.
Have you, but it depends on where you are mentally at the time. At the time, it was all playoff push. Okay. And I'm like, hold on, everybody. Hold on. It's not a given we're making the playoffs here. Let's remember the team we're playing with. Let's remember this franchise. Now
they're further from
the
playoffs.
Were, That's
and
right.
You're all about it.
I don't have to talk to fans about this team being unlikely to make the playoffs anymore.
Don't worry about that. What do you think? I want to know what you think.
What do I think they'll make the playoffs?
Yeah.
I almost would bet my house they won't.
Okay then.
But I'm going to be there.
Sure,
on
and
the playoff band.
Is.
That's not true. Go through my mentions last night, and I understand a lot of that's knee-jerk.
Right, but I just heard you say that you don't think they're going to make it. That's the same thing everybody else is saying.
No, everyone else is saying I'm done. There's always next season. I'm giving up. It's over. I'm not giving up.
But neither are they.
No. That's literally what they're saying. They're saying when I see somebody say season's over, when I see somebody say there's always next year, it was a good run while it lasted.
You said that before the season started.
That was it. I'm talking about right now.
You said that in like the third quarter of the Milwaukee game.
Hold on. I said that game was over. I can't say
same logic.
I can't have a different mindset throughout the season based on the performance of the team. I have to maintain it from. So should I have still thought they were 3-17 the whole year?
Yes.
And that they're losers? No. Last year
but I'm saying you're the criticism of people going, being frustrated and being like, God, this just like saying I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. It's the same thing as people going like, well, hey, there's always next year.
You cannot think they're going to make the playoffs, but still stay there till the bitter end.
And I think the people complaining at you last night are absolutely going to. I don't think people are going to stop watching.
But you're really giving them a lot of credit, and you may be right on a few of them.
I did the same thing.
You may be right on a few of them.
Did you not still watch them this year? When you thought they were going to go 3-17?
Of course I'm going to watch every minute of it. Of course I'm going to watch.
Okay.
They're not saying they're going to stop watching. They're saying, season's over. It's done. Jaeger sucks. Why didn't we run this play? This is terrible. Playoffs are over. It's never going to happen. I didn't say there's no way we're going to make the playoffs. I said if you're asking me an honest question, do I think they'll make the playoffs? The answer is I would bet heavily that they will not. Okay. But that until they are mathematically eliminated, unless they're like 7 games out with 8 remaining.
Right,
sure, but until we get to that point, it's like, hold on. Number one, they've still got a chance at making the playoffs. Their schedule still opens up quite a bit. They still have 4 home games in a row against crap teams, and the Spurs don't have. They've still got a good handful of tough games coming up. It's not like the Kings could sign Kevin Durant in the offseason. It still could happen. That's not where we're at with the playoffs right now.
Okay.
But when the game ends and my entire freaking social media feed is filled with people that are like, well, this is a fun season. They just keep choking. Like, dude, what?
It's just angry people. Angry people right after a loss. I wouldn't buy it too far.
I don't mind anger. There's nobody out there that hates the Kings losing more than me. There might be people tied. I'm sure there's a lot of people tied with me. Nobody gets more emotionally upset at this team losing than me. It literally affects my life and the way I treat my family and how my food tastes in the morning. But I can also, back to the loss is a loss crowd. Matt George sitting in here right now. Matt, I can understand, and we talked about this earlier, the difference between they lost by 34 at home to Phoenix and they lost by 2 to Boston at the last second. There's a difference in those losses.
So first off, let me tell you, I'm 100% proud of you.
Shut up.
The transformation that he's made over the course of the season has made me very, very happy. You sound like me in August and September dealing with the fans on social media that were ready to punt the season and punt the career of Marvin Bagley because the Kings didn't pick
I don't want to completely insult your optimism. I'm sure I don't want to take away from the fact that I'm sure you looked at the roster, you looked at the team, but if for you to say that your optimism wasn't at least a decent part in you being a Kings fan.
It was wishful thinking.
Okay.
Absolutely, it was wishful thinking.
And what I'm saying is that last year when I was pessimistic on this team, that to me was realistic. Yeah. That's what I had to go on.
But like you genuinely believe that the Kings could go 3-17 based off of the facts, I genuinely believed, and this is true, I genuinely believe, and I said it multiple times, that Buddy Hield would make a leap. Not this big of a leap, but I thought he would be a consistent starter and a consistent scorer for this team. I believe De'Aaron Fox would make a leap. He has. I believe Marvin Bagley would be better defensively than he was advertised coming out of the gate, which he has. I believed Harry Giles would be decent, which he has. So I believe that this team could be better. My optimism went as far as the Kings will make or win more games than they ever did with DeMarcus Cousins. It never had anything to do with the playoffs.
You and I made a bet based on that, your Optimist Challenge.
Still not there yet.
But well, I'm pretty sure we'll get there.
Hopefully.
But there's a difference between wishful thinking and legit thinking. Like I would go back and I would simply ask you this question. Please be honest, because God is watching you. If you had $100,000 in a briefcase cash in September, and I said to you, Matt, I'm going to give this to you to bet one way or the other. The Kings going to have a better record this year than they ever had with DeMarcus Cousins or not? You're honest to God telling me you would have put that $100,000? No, of course you wouldn't have.
Probably wouldn't have.
And I appreciate your honesty. That's wishful thinking. That's purple glasses, and that's okay. What I'm trying to say is that I'm not having purple glasses right now.
What he's trying to say is he operates on a higher plane of fan existence.
That's not true.
But here's the thing. So, Dave, I understand what you're saying 100%. But I still believed it was possible when almost nobody did. And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal.
No, I respect that.
But I looked at this team and what they did during the summer, and I made assumptions based off of, I believe this is where the teams can go, and I genuinely believed it. They met and have beaten those expectations, which is phenomenal. I will never, ever take credit for it. All credit goes to Yeager and the players in that locker room.
I'll give you all the credit.
But what you're going through right now with the fans is so fun for me to watch from an outside perspective because it's exactly what I've gone through all season. We went through this same thing on social media.
I feel like the Kings.
How many out-of-town podcasts have you gone on?
I've gone on plenty of
out-of-town podcasts. Not as many as me.
I think the difference is that when you were optimistic, some of that was purple glasses, and that's okay. I'm being purple glass right now to a point, but I don't think the Kings had earned your optimism.
Okay.
I don't think they had done anything to earn your optimism. The Kings have earned my loyalty and my optimism this year.
So let me ask you this.
I want to repay that.
Compared to the situation looking at who's the team the Kings are trying to catch? The San Antonio Spurs,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So my optimism was purple glasses based off of the facts that were there. My counter to you is, how is it not optimistic thinking saying the Kings can catch a San Antonio team that year after year has been there before, is coached by maybe the greatest coach of all time, and features a bona fide all-star in LaMarcus Aldridge?
I know I'm splitting hairs, but to me this is a big difference. The Kings can catch the San Antonio Spurs is not optimistic thinking. It's realistic thinking. It's literally a reality. The Kings will catch the San Antonio Spurs. That's optimistic thinking. And I'm not saying that. I'm saying the Kings can catch them. It's still there. And for me, why hop off now if for no other reason that team has earned it? They've earned. All I ever want as a native Sacramentan, as a guy who has Sacramento in my blood like a lot of you guys, I just want them to bust their asses.
Yeah.
I want them to hustle.
You're guaranteed that.
You're getting that now. I was looking at this last night. De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley, when you add their ages up, Vince Carter and Dirk Nowitzki are both older than them.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. They're little kids, and I say that with all respect. They're little kids playing a man's game right now.
Which makes it even more exciting because they haven't even scratched the surface yet. Marvin Bagley, 19 years old, has no idea what he's doing yet. Imagine when he's 24. And that's not discrediting him. No. I'm just talking NBA knowledge. When he's 23, 24 years old, he's going to be one of the best bigs in the NBA.
And Jay, even if they don't make the playoffs this year, there's also something to fight for. I think it is a massively big deal for this team to hit or exceed 500, and that is still very much in play. In fact, I would say, based on their remaining schedule, them meeting or beating 500 is actually more probable than it isn't, and that is it's not the playoffs, but that's a huge milestone.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I've said that. Now that, listen, I'm off the playoff bandwagon, all right? Let me be very honest. I didn't want to say this when it happened, but I was kind of off of it when Marvin Bagley got hurt.
Call you honest Antetokounmpo.
But thank you. But I didn't want my Twitter mentions to look like yours. That's why I didn't say it.
Right.
But no, I think that's what you as a fan, me as a fan, we as fans should be shooting for at this point. 500 is, I think, beyond realistic at this point. I think, I'll go ahead and say it, they're going to finish at 500 or above. There's just no way I don't see them going less than 9-9 these next 18 games.
Based on how the season has gone, I expect them to finish above 500.
Yeah.
I just don't think that makes the playoffs in the West.
And that's okay at this
Stupid
point.
East.
That's okay, though, at this point. It is okay.
It is okay. It is okay. It is okay to not make the playoffs. It's okay.
Say it for the folks in the back.
It's not your fault, Will. Well, it's not. It's okay, but they're not dead yet.
Yes, they are.
They're on life support, man.
No, Dave, it's done.
I ain't buying it.
It's over. The playoff, that's not a thing anymore.
I don't believe that.
See, I don't either. But I lean more on his way of thinking, but I understand exactly know what you're talking about.
Improbable.
It can happen.
No, it won't.
But Jay, here's the thing. So Jay is saying this. I guarantee, knowing what I know about Jay, he's going to be locked in watching every single game.
Absolutely.
And rooting his ass off
Won't
for them,
miss a game.
hoping they win out.
Yes.
But what is the negative at staying on the playoff bandwagon?
You're going to break your own heart.
Yes. Remember the chart you drew for Matt?
Hey,
of
guys.
you don't want to,
That's a great attitude.
If you start here,
maybe,
but then you have to fall this far.
Maybe,
but if you start here, you only fall this far. But then if they exceed expectations, you get to come up this high.
That's a great attitude, Kyle. Maybe with that kind of attitude, you can go through your entire life without ever really knowing anyone. That's Good Will Hunting. You wouldn't get that. Damn it.
That's a good movie.
Thank you. It's a great movie. He hasn't seen it.
It's just literally Jay is you and you are Matt.
It's called being a fan. But when I said it, it's
the
right.
exact argument that you guys had
when I said
6 months ago.
When I said it 6 months ago, I was right. Things have changed.
You weren't right.
Yes, and they changed again.
I was
they
right.
just changed that they're not going to make the playoffs anymore. They've changed again.
I was right in being negative.
Okay.
You bunch of bandwagoners.
I love this show.
Hello, Jay.
You do?
Hello, other Jay.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Hey, buddy. Good. How are you?
Well, I don't know. I thought I saw my name going on there a lot, and I was wondering if I was supposed to be on the phone or not.
Yeah, no, different, Jay.
All right. So I'll use a couple of cliches, but I think they fit. One, we always got to go back to Yogi, and it ain't over till it's over.
Yeah.
And there have been some miraculous comebacks in sports history from few games down.
Yes.
And let's face it, you just said it. If LaMarcus Aldridge goes down, Spurs are done. But they haven't had that injury of late. Second thing is, I feel as a fan, we're playing with house money now. We're so far ahead of the game this year that we should enjoy it and stay with it. I have a bunch of Southern California kids in my classes at Sac State. And just think about what will happen if we don't make the playoffs. We'll sit. We'll worry about the 2-point loss here, the 2-point loss there, how close we were to the Warriors. And we can go back and figure out, and the team can dissect, what do we need to do to correct 6-7 games of the year out there. And for me, they got to solve the center problem that meets the complementary needs of this team. But the second part of that is, you could be a Laker fan right now.
It's a great point.
And you're looking and saying, there is absolutely nothing that convinces me that next year, LeBron, a year older, is going to be worth a damn. So I am all for
staying right on the bandwagon and enjoying this season to the very end because we're playing with house money.
God bless you, Jay. God bless your family. And God bless the Sacramento Kings. It's not over. It's not over yet.
It's done.
What do you have to lose by staying on the playoff bandwagon? Those kids went out there and they busted their ass for you all year long, defying expectations. And how do we react here in Sacramento to that? Do we jump off the train?
Yes.
No. Did we give up when the Lakers beat us 4-0 in the playoffs in 2001?
Kinda.
Yes. But we've grown. We've grown, damn it.
I love you, Dave. You're so happy.
Sam Amick is next. Sacramento proud. That's what I am. Hashtag
miracles do happen.
Sports 1140 KHTK.